away, you called the hospital with the bill, and you spoke to a nurse who gave you a very abrupt kind of retort about how you just needed to check on your cost assistance to see, and asked you if you had signed a consent form.
Yeah, she said that this was actually on the consent form. So first she asked me, did I sign the consent form? And I said yes. And then she quoted it from the consent form. She's like, well, if you signed the consent form, you should have noticed that it said you need to consult with your cost assistant provider, if any, or whatever she said,
Okay.
in that awful tone of voice that you should never talk to someone. I don't know.
Thank you for clearing that up. I got it.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else that I should know about the experimental treatment?
I don't think so. Oh, and I did it. I offered to pay. In like little installments, like $25.
Great. That was the next thing I was going to ask you about.
And she comes back to me and says, "That's not enough, but at least it's better than nothing." Can you believe her? I have, now I'm in this awful bind. I spent all my savings on the situation, paying off my 20% deductible, the funeral costs. I'm pretty much, I even missed my property taxes on my home. I mean, now I'm just I'm just scraping up every penny, making sure I'm as frugal as possible so I can just pay off my taxes, my property taxes, there's no sympathy whatsoever from this awful woman. I don't know how she's working in medicine. I just don't understand how somebody can hire her to deal with such a I don't know.
Such a sensitive, painful process.
Yeah, I mean, who gave her this? Oh, she's awful. She has zero sense of, I don't know what the word is,
Tact?
Yeah, that's it. Like, no tact whatsoever.
Okay, so you said that you don't remember if she was a nurse or if she was in charge of PR or billing.
Yeah, I just, I called to the call center. What is it called? The operator. It's like the switchboard. That's it. That's what they called it. And then the switchboard, when I told them my situation, they just, buzzed me over to this awful woman, and that's with whom I communicated.
And do you remember her name?
No. I should have asked her for, like, all her info, like, employee ID. Human being.
And did you only speak to her one time?
Yeah, it was just the one time.
And during that time, you offered to pay $25 a month?
Yeah. And she just said to me, like I said, yeah, it's better than nothing, but it's not enough.
So, have you been paying that $25 a month then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and everything else, just I'm saving up for my property taxes.
And then is the hospital still threatening to...
Well, they somehow, I don't know how debt collections work, but I guess they sold it to a debt collection agency, and they have just been awful. Harassing me. They threatened to take my home. When they called me, they were like, "Oh, do you have a pension?" Implying that they can take that too.
That must have been so scary.
Yeah, and they're awful. I mean, they are just like the spawn of Satan. Actually, these debt collectors, they must be. They called me, and they just they made comments like, you shouldn't put yourself in financial situations that you can't, pay off. You're an irresponsible person. I'm just like degrading me. I'm
so sorry to hear
demeaning
that.
me. I could not, and I I told them my situation is no heart, it's heartless. They don't care, and they don't stop. They're bothering. They call me all the time, all the time. All the time. I mean, I don't even know. Like, I don't even know how they got my. They have my cell phone number. They have my house number. They send me mail. It's just overwhelming how
Sure.
obnoxious these awful human beings are.
Sure. Can you tell me about when the debt was sold over to the debt collectors or passed down to them?
That was about a month ago. That's when it started, about a month ago, and it's just been awful. Just hell. Should I change my phone number? I don't know what to do. I just don't know. Really, I mean, they're just horrible, horrible human beings.
Okay, so about a month ago they did that. And then can you kind of...
I mean, and it's recurring. It's not. I mean, I'm surprised I haven't heard a phone call by now. Really, it's like every 5 minutes they're calling me. They're bothering me. I can't do anything without these people being obnoxious and unreal. It's unbelievable. They have no sense of boundaries. They call me like, 9 on the dot, just in time before it's legal. Of course, I did my homework about that too.
I can tell.
Yeah, I did not want to deal with them, and but they always managed to do everything just in the line of, just within the boundary of legal, but,
Okay. Can you give me an estimate about how many times they call you in a given day?
I would probably say they call me about 15 to 20 times a day easily.
15 to 20 times a day?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and is that divided between your cell phone and your house phone?
Yeah.
About evenly?
Yeah, about evenly. Oh, they started calling up my family members too. I'm beyond mortified.
Which family members?
My parents, for example, they're extremely old, and
And do they always call 15 to 20 times a day?
yeah, they're unstoppable. Like, they have no. They do that to my parents too. They call them 15 to 20 times a day as well.
7 days a week?
Yeah.
Wow. Right. Okay. And then you mentioned that they also send you emails about how many of those.
Oh, in the mail, they'll send me like letters and yeah. I mean,
about how often do they send you
mail? I think I've gotten only about like 3 notices. But I think they just cover their bases when they call me and just like harass me. I think that's really where they think they're going to maximize their efficiency.
Okay. And what do you do when they call?
I try to reason, and then ultimately it always ends in me crying or yelling into the receiver that they're being awful. They're just awful human beings, that they have zero compassion, that I'm not an irresponsible person. I'm not somebody who allows like debt to just, creep up into my life. This is not something that's, recurring. It's humiliating. They just humiliate me, and they expect me to sit there and just allow them to do that into my ear.
Yeah. I can imagine how hard that would be. Sorry, I can't imagine how hard that would be. It's a little shocking, to be quite honest. I'm so sorry that you have to go through that on top of everything else that you've been dealing with.
Yeah.
Well, I have a lot of great information, and I want to thank you for being so open about all of this and for talking through even things that were really hard for you. And I've got great information from it. I only have a couple more things I need to ask you about. So, are you doing okay? Do you need to take a break?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm good.
Okay, great. You're doing great. Did your husband have a will?
No.
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 And have there been any, relatives that have come forth and tried to claim his property or made any?
No.
All right. I think that this is everything I need to start really working on this and researching it. Is there anything that you can think of that might be important that I failed to hit on?
Well, it sounds like you're asking if we have other assets. I have a 5-year-old car. I have a 5-year-old Toyota. I don't know.
Great. I didn't even talk about your property outside of your house. So you have a 5-year-old Toyota.
Yeah, and and then my house. That's it.
Any personal property like jewelry?
Oh, yeah, costume jewelry. Like I said, we're just, simple folks.
Sure.
We have a simple life. And I like it like that,
Is there anything else that you can think of that a debt collection agency would want to go after?
Well, they just threatened my house and my pension. And I just can't believe them. And I wanna stay in my house. The memories I have in there, I want to just, stay there, work in the library, and write a book about the history of the city. And I just really would like to keep my home.
Sure. All right, so where you can see us going from here is really to fight the debt collection agency about the charges, and to make sure in all circumstances that you're able to keep your home, if at all possible. Okay. And what about if it does turn out that the doctor was, responsible to give you certain information that he didn't? Would you be interested in looking into, trying to bring an action against him to recover the $20,000?
Yeah, yeah, I think for sure. I don't want to sue him, but I don't want to be responsible for something that's not my fault. If that's something he should be doing, then he should have told me then. If that's the standard, if that's what they're supposed to do, then I shouldn't have to pay for that. I don't have it too. I'm sure he's probably loaded or has some insurance company that's going to cover him. They won't cover me.
I just wanted to make sure of that. Thank you for clearing that up. Okay, is there anything else you wanted to tell me today?
No, I think that's... if I think of anything else, maybe I'll just call.
Yeah, you have my number, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Then my secretary is going to make an appointment with you for probably somewhere around 2 weeks from now. And if you could, when you come, bring anything that you have in terms of paperwork